everyone, this is Krystal, and today I am working on the foundation of my 2020 December album. So of course I have the Sparkle and Joy kit from Citrus Twist Kits, and I also have the gorgeous red album that was an add-on, kind of an optional add-on for the kit. And this is what I'm going to be using as my album and my supplies for this year. My plan is to do a really simple album with just a single photo a day, very similar to what I did last year, if you were around and saw that. So I'm just trying to keep it simple to get it done. So take one photo a day. It definitely won't be comprehensive of my entire December. I'm going to leave that for Project Life and probably some 12 by 12 layouts as well. But this is just going to be like a snapshot, and it's going to have a particular focus, and that's what I want to start with. So I'm going to start by working on not my title page. I'm going to leave my title page for another day just because I'm not entirely sure what I want that to look like yet, but I do want to work on my kind of reason why. So I'm going to create those two facing pages today. I'm not going to write my reason why yet just because I want to do that a little bit closer to December, but I do want to get the foundation there. My plan is to use this time ahead of December to do some more fun things in my album, some pages that maybe are a little bit more complicated than I'll have time to do during the month of December. So I want to get that stuff out of the way. And then in December, I can really just kind of plug in the photos and the stories and get it done hopefully shortly after December is over. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to set this aside. I've already pulled out a couple things that I want to use. So I've used one of the cut files that coordinates with this kit and cut out this screen with the word joy on it. And then I've also cut the word joy out of white paper. So this was all in one cut file set. I'm not going to back it with this. That is for something else. My plan is to put it on top of this. This is a full page pocket page, and I want to add this on top of it and then do a shaker pocket inside. This is something I've done before in the past, and I really liked the look of it, so I want to do it again at the beginning of my album just as a little fun kind of introduction page. I plan on maybe adding more to the title here. I'm not entirely sure which words I want to add around it, but I definitely want to add a bit more on here. And for the inside of the shaker, I'm going to be using a combination of all of these things. I looked through all of my little embellishment things and found everything that was white. So I have some tiny, tiny little pom-poms that I think were from maybe Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I have some white sequins, I have some mica flakes, and then I have some white glitter. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of those. I'm going to start with just a couple of them and then add more until I feel like I have the right amount for this size of a shaker pocket. So that is going to be on the right hand side of the page. On the left hand side is going to be my reason why. And I want to use this paper because the cardstock that I used, this red cardstock, is just from my stash. It happened to be one that was two-sided, so the back side is this teal paper, and I'm not going to cut it again and put it on the back. So last time I did it, I cut it in reverse and then sandwiched the shaker in between. This time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave this blue pattern or this blue paper exposed. So when you turn the page, you'll see this, it'll kind of just fade in to this other blue pattern. So that's why I want to use this pattern paper from the kit on the left-hand side of my page. And I'm thinking I might cut this into a tag shape, or I might just leave it a full page and do my reason why on a piece of white cardstock in a tag shape. I'm not entirely sure. So we're going to play around with that and see what we like best. But first I need to get the shaker pocket done and get this put together. I have my fuse tool heating up off to the side because I'll need to fuse the top of this once I have the shaker pocket all filled up. So that's what we're going to start with. I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and get this page done.
My goal for this shaker pocket was to make it look like snow, which is why I wanted to use these tiny little pom-poms. I've had these for forever. I've been kind of hoarding them. I think I intended to use them in 2018 and just never did. And here it is 2020 and I still hadn't used them. So it was time to get them in the album. I think they're super adorable as snow in a shaker pocket. That was the intention for them all along. So I'm happy to finally have them in a shaker pocket in my album. And then I ended up adding all of the white sequins that I had and then a bunch of the white glitter. I'm not going to add the mica flakes just because they were a little bit off white and it was bothering me a little bit that they didn't quite match the rest of the white things I had in that pocket. So now it's time to fuse my pocket shut, and I realized my cord doesn't reach, so I had to scooch over and fuse it off to the side. So I didn't make you watch the dead air while I did that. But now it's all fused and I can start to glue things together. So I have some, this is the Smart Craft glue from scrapbook.com. It's a new product of theirs, and I really like it for fine detail work like this. It has a very fine tip and you don't have to squeeze it. So unlike my fine line bottle, which I have to squeeze really hard and it ends up hurting my hand quite a bit by the time I'm done, this you do not squeeze at all. You just kind of let gravity do its thing, and I'm just kind of adding little drops, little dots of glue all around this pretty delicate cut file. And then I'm going to add it right on top of the other joy. So I cut these so that they were sized the same and would line up perfectly. And I really like the look of that white joy over the top of the red paper. I am going to end up using that same glue to adhere it down to the shaker pocket. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it at first, but I decided just to try this glue, and so far it's holding up really well. It is a tacky glue, so you have to be a little bit careful not to get it outside of where you want it. But it means that you can use it for foiling, by the way, if you are curious about that. But for this, it held really well. It stuck to this plastic really well without any issue. Normally, I think I would probably use like red line tape or something, but it would show through much more than this glue does. So, so far, I'm really happy with it. We'll see how it holds up throughout the season as I play with this album more and more. So now that that is glued down, and by the way, I did just add glue around the outside. I didn't glue down the back side of the joy just because I thought it would be a little bit less visible just adding it to the outside border of this cut file. So now that it's glued down, I can just punch the holes. And because I was going through kind of the holes of that page protector and I wanted it to line up really well, I used my single hole punch, my We Are Memory Keepers, what is it called? It's a something big punch. I don't remember the name of it, but that's what I used because I wanted them to line up perfectly. I do have a 6-hole punch, but this works better for that sort of thing. Okay, so I decided to cut this down to a full page, but then I realized that the paper is actually it's 6 by 8, and the pages in the album, the page protectors, the pages that are outside of a page protector need to be 8 1/4. So I just cut another piece of white cardstock. This is just inexpensive, smooth white cardstock, and cut it to be 5 by 8 1/4, and then cut the pattern paper to be just a 1/4 of an inch shorter on two sides so that there's an 1/8 of an inch border around the outside. And then I cut the tag from that same smooth white cardstock. I cut it to be, I think it's 3 or maybe it's 4 inches by like 7 3/4 or something. I just kind of eyeballed it and just cut it to where it had a nice border around all of the sides. And then I'm going to glue this down. I'm actually thinking about going back and stitching this. I didn't stitch it at the time, but looking at it now, I'm thinking it would be nice to have some stitching around the outside of that page, so I may go back and do that a little bit later. But first, I want to make sure I get those holes punched so that when I center the tag on this page, I'm not going to accidentally get it off to one side and have to punch through the tag to get it into the album. So then, and I could have used my 6-hole punch for this one, and I just totally didn't even think about it. I had that single hole punch already out on my desk, and I just grabbed it and used it, and it worked just fine. I also punched a hole in the top of the tag. I will end up adding some twine, or rather some ribbon, to the top of that, but I wanted to give it a hole reinforcer, so I used a punch, again from We Are Memory Keepers, to punch that little hole reinforcer out of the same paper that I cut the Joy cut file out of, and that is pretty much it for that tag. I will come back to it here in a second to add my title, but I'm not going to adhere it down because I will want to type my actual reason why onto it when we get closer to the month of December. So right now I want to add kind of a subtitle, or I guess not really a subtitle, but finishing out the title of this joy page, and I looked at the gold puffy stickers that came with the kit, and I looked at the die cuts to see if there was something that would work to kind of get the feeling of what I was going for here, and I couldn't really find anything, so I'm just going to use these red alphas that were part of the kit to spell out focus on the. So my goal for the month of December for this album and everything I put in it is to focus on the joy of this month. I know that this December is not going to be like other Decembers, and I want to make sure that I have a reason to look for the joy in all the things that are happening around me. So that is what this album is going to be about. This is my reminder to do that. And I really like the way that these alphas look on the transparency. So far, they've stuck really well, and I haven't had any issue with them coming off. I will go back and add glue to them if I need to, but we're just going to see again how it all holds up together before I go making a mess of it and adding glue to it. So to add my title to the tag, I actually grabbed this stamp set, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but I will definitely link it down below, and I will maybe put a little card here to tell you what it's called. But it's the same font as those alphas that came in the kit, so it's going to work perfectly to add the title to this tag, which is just going to be reason why. I am drawing just a straight line so I can make sure that I get these letters straight. I'm not a great stamper. And you'll see here in a second, I totally messed this up and have to totally redo it. But this is going to help me a little bit get it straight. Having that line there, I just drew a pencil line that I'll go back and erase later. And I'm using some Distress Oxide ink only because I don't have a lot of red inks in my stash. And this is the only one I had that even came close to matching the red in that paper and in those alphas. So, and I definitely wanted to bring some red over to this side of the page. So I wanted red ink. This is the one I had. It ends up being my downfall a little bit there. You see, my dog was actually begging for my attention, and I looked away for a second, and I touched the stamp to the page in completely the wrong spot. So I went and cut a different one and started over, and I didn't make you watch that again, but I just stamped out reason why. And then, of course, I got it completely off center. It's not even close to center. So I ended up adding 3 little dots as an ellipses at the end, but I'm not sure I'm happy with it, so I may go back and change that as well. But for right now, it's there and it's done, and I can decide later on if I want to actually fix it. So it's nearly done. I don't have a lot more to do here. I do want to add just a small embellishment. I brought the red over to the left-hand side of the page. Now I want to bring that teal over to the right-hand side. So I thought maybe I would add a little word strip to the bottom of the joy there, but it was really kind of too small. So then I thought, well, maybe I would stamp a phrase in that teal color and kind of cut it into a banner, but I wasn't sure about that. I looked for something I could cut apart. I thought maybe a label would work, and I almost decided to cut that, and I realized, oh, I have a little scrap of this paper. If I want to bring that color over to the right hand side, what better way to do it than to use the exact same paper? So I'm going to just cut a little strip of it and then cut notches into the end of the strip to make it into a banner. And then I'm going to use one of those stickers from the sticker sheet that was part of the Sparkle and Joy kit that says Merry and Bright, and I'm going to add that to the center and then just glue it all right down to the top of that cut file. And then that way I have that blue color, I have another little kind of subtitle, and it ties the whole thing together. I did want to add just a tiny little embellishment to that tag that I cut, so or banner. So I'm going to end up using one of the little gold pieces from the gold puffy stickers, just a little gold heart, just to add a little bit of something. And then because I had added the gold to the right hand side, I also want to add some gold to the left hand side. So do you see a theme here? It's definitely what you do to one, do to the other kind of thing to get some balance on these pages. And to do that, I'm going to end up grabbing some ribbon to see if I can find some gold ribbon that might work to bring in that color. I had a few different options. I'm going to end up going with this really sparkly gold thin ribbon, and then some of this other, I think it's a polka dot, like a gold and white polka dot. And I will fuss with that and try and get it in that hole off camera so you don't have to watch me do that. But then that's it. So I'm just going to erase my pencil line and then save that for later on when I type up my reason why. I hope that this page gave you some inspiration for using your kit and the cut files that coordinate with it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here very soon.